Join me as I dive deep into the history books to debunk the myth of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon once and for all. In this video, you'll explore the myths and realities surrounding the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon are often touted as one of the most impressive architectural achievements of the ancient world. We're told that they were a breathtakingly beautiful oasis in the heart of Babylon, with lush greenery and vibrant flowers, all suspended in mid-air. But despite their supposed grandeur, there's a shocking lack of concrete evidence to support their existence. In fact, the only reason we even know about the Hanging Gardens is because of a few scattered references in ancient texts. Many historians take these texts at face value, assuming that the Hanging Gardens must have been a real historical site. But when you take a closer look, it becomes clear that these accounts are often contradictory and unreliable. Some historians claim that the Hanging Gardens were built by the Neo-Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II for his beloved wife, Amytis. Others argue that they were constructed by the Assyrian king Sennacherib. And yet, despite these conflicting theories, there's no concrete archaeological evidence to back up any of them. This lack of evidence raises some serious questions. If the Hanging Gardens were truly as magnificent as we're led to believe, wouldn't we expect to find some tangible remains? Wouldn't there be some archaeological record of their existence? The answer, of course, is yes. But despite extensive excavations, not a single shred of evidence has been found. The absence of concrete evidence is all the more striking when you consider the meticulous record-keeping of the ancient Mesopotamians. They left behind a vast array of texts, from business transactions to royal decrees. So why is there no mention of the Hanging Gardens in any of these records? It's as if they simply didn't exist. One of the earliest written records of the Hanging Gardens comes from the Greek historian Berossus, who lived in the 3rd century BCE. He described the gardens as a marvel of engineering, with trees and flowers growing on a series of arches and vaults. But Berossus's account is problematic, to say the least. For one thing, he was writing centuries after the supposed construction of the Hanging Gardens, which means that his information was likely based on hearsay rather than first-hand knowledge. Moreover, Berossus's description of the Hanging Gardens bears a striking resemblance to the ancient Greek Hanging Gardens of Semiramis, a mythical paradise that was said to be located in Babylon. It's possible that Berossus simply borrowed this mythological imagery and applied it to the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar. Some historians have proposed that the Hanging Gardens might have been located in the ancient city of Nineveh rather than Babylon. They argue that the Assyrian king Sennacherib built the gardens as part of a massive renovations project in the 7th century BCE. But while this theory is intriguing, it's based largely on speculation and supposition, and there's still no concrete evidence to support it. One of the most compelling theories about the Hanging Gardens comes from the German historian Dalley, who argues that the gardens might have been inspired by the ancient Mesopotamian concept of the sacred grove. These sacred groves were ritual spaces where people could connect with the divine, and they often featured lush greenery and vibrant flowers. Dalley suggests that the Hanging Gardens might have been a mythical representation of this sacred grove, rather than a physical structure. This theory is significant because it challenges our entire understanding of the Hanging Gardens. If they were never a real physical structure, but rather a mythical representation of a sacred space, then what does that say about our perception of ancient civilizations? It's a profound realization, and one that forces us to re-examine our assumptions about the past. So, what have we learned today? We've seen that the Hanging Gardens of Babylon are more myth than reality, a mythical representation of a sacred space, rather than a physical structure. We've explored the lack of concrete evidence, the conflicting theories, and the problematic historical accounts. And we've discovered that despite their supposed grandeur, the Hanging Gardens might never have existed at all. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the history books. If you've got thoughts on the Hanging Gardens, let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about ancient wonders and historical myths, be sure to check out my other videos.